Joined now by Yankees beat writer Bryan Hoch from MLB.com, covers the Yankees. Bryan, pinch hitting for Sean Casey this week. Welcome.
Yeah, anytime I get to pinch hit for the mayor, that's quite an honor there. I'll try and do my best to get a hit here.
All right, so the Yankees have lost 2 of 3 to the Rays. The series ends tomorrow, but it's certainly not how the Bombers wanted to start the second half of the season. What's the mood in the clubhouse right now? You were out there today.
Yeah, I think it's frustration is the word I would come up with. That shouldn't be shocking to anybody. This slide has gone on way too long for anybody's taste. And, you looked at that All-Star break and you thought this is going to be a reset button. It's going to be a good time for them to mentally and physically reset. And you thought that first game out of the break against the Rays, you said, all right, here it is. Then now they're going to take off. And then they dropped the next 2. And you didn't see a whole lot of signs of encouragement. Yesterday was very rough at the stadium. Today, they had a little fight in them at the end, but weren't able to get there. So kind of feels like a continuation of what we saw starting around June 15. And that's really been tough for this Yankee team here, where nothing seems to be going right. You come in and the Rays hit a bunch of home runs and they're taking slow trots around the bases. It's tough to watch.
Well, you mentioned the balls leaving the yard. Aaron Boone has said a couple times this season that it's just that his pitchers' mistakes have been getting out of the ballpark. Well, 9 home runs in 3 games, that seems like a bit more than a few mistakes leaving the yard. What's going on with the Yankees pitching right now?
Yeah, I mean, there's no question that the pitching has taken a step back from where it was early in the year. And when they were at their best, a big part of that was the pitching. But that being said, this many home runs can't be acceptable. And it can't just be Yankee Stadium, because these are not short porch jobs, And even if they were, the Yankees still play in the same ballpark, so they can always do that. They just haven't been doing it. And so other than Judge, who continues to play at an MVP pace. So I think the biggest key for the Yankees to get out of this funk, what they are, run prevention. You got to keep some runs off the board here. If your bats aren't doing it, and it seems like they're not going to, because this lineup really has been Soto, Judge, and everybody else, you're going to have the pitching come through here and pitch you guys to a lot of victories. And so far, they haven't been able to get there yet.
And one of those pitchers who's been struggling is Nestor Cortes. Saturday, he lost his 5th straight start. 3 of them were at home. Do you think he could lose his spot in the rotation once Clark Schmidt returns?
I don't think that's impossible. I think that the Yankees need to have the best starting pitcher out there, the choice they have every single day. And this kind of takes me back to when Luis Gil was in the rotation and he was pitching great, and everybody said, Garrett Cole's coming back. What are they going to do with Gil? And the answer was, you got to keep Gil in the rotation because he's pitching great. Now it's the flip side of that here. Who's the guy who's not giving you a chance to win? And, look, we all love the Nestor Cortes story and the All-Star a couple years ago and all that. But it really has been a rough go for him here.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier Judge and Soto, really the only bats in the lineup right now for the Yankees. You're not the only one who feels that way. Earlier this week, Luis Severino, former Yankee turned Met, was stirring the pot. He said that the Yankees lineup has just 2 good hitters. Well, apparently it ruffled the feathers of Aaron Boone, because he reached out to his former bench coach, Carlos Mendoza, who's now managing the Mets. How big of an issue is this going to be headed into the Subway Series?
I knew I had heard that somewhere before. Yeah, Severino let that slip. Apparently, that was from a group chat he still has with some of his Yankee teammates from here, and they're still in touch. And these guys go back and forth, and they give each other a little bit of trash talk here and there. And they were making fun of Severino for ducking the Yankees during the Subway Series, and I guess he won't face the Yankees again this go round. And he said, "Look, I'm not afraid of you guys. You got 2 hitters in the lineup. You got Judge and Soto, and I can pitch to everybody else." So. I think that if it did upset and ruffle some feathers in the Yankee universe, it's because there's some truth to that. Look how much the Yankees have had to try and change around their lineup, just trying to figure out who is their cleanup hitter, who's their leadoff hitter. How can they get any production from the bottom of this order? And if there's anything that I've really taken away from the last month or so, it's how important Giancarlo Stanton is to this lineup. And we understand that he's going to get hurt. Brian Cashman said that at the GM meetings in November, and I know Stanton wasn't happy about it. But then you look up here, and he's missed a significant amount of time again this year, and he's trying to come back. But when you take that bat out of the lineup, that really does leave a lot of the other guys exposed here. And there's a reason I think that the Yankees are looking very closely to see when can Stanton get back in this lineup.
Bryan, the trade deadline is now just 9 days away, and all of a sudden, it seems like the Yankees have a lot of holes to fill. So what does all in look like for them at the deadline?
I think all in is doing whatever you can to upgrade this current team, because as they are right now, what we've seen since June 15, it's not good enough. And they're lucky that they've built that huge cushion and they were the first team in the majors to 50 wins. But I think they're 9-19 since then. So this has been an ugly slide. And I think this has exposed a lot of warts here, where you say, when you get to October, it's the hottest teams who win, which it does not look like the New York Yankees right now. And so can they catch a hot streak? Can they fill some of these holes? Yes, I think Brian Cashman is obviously working the phones here to try and bring in some talent, but I don't think they can do everything they need. Some of this is gonna have to come from within, because you can't go out and trade for 5, 6, 7 players here at the deadline. It's just not realistic to say that they can fix all their problems and wave a magic wand here. So I think that you're gonna have to be selective and pick and choose what you can do here. But clearly, even before this slide, I was saying that swing and miss arms in the bullpen, that's a glaring need for this team. You need somebody out there who can generate some strikeouts. DJ LeMahieu is struggling to a point where we've never seen this version of DJ LeMahieu, really. I mean, his batting average is half of what it was when he won a batting title. So, and even him at his locker today, he was saying, yeah, I haven't seen a whole lot of signs to be encouraged about. And so clearly he's working, but it's just not happening. Gleyber Torres has been very spotty, committed another error defensively. The offense hasn't been there. So, I mean, Alex Verdugo's not hitting. So there are a lot of areas here on this Yankee team where you could conceivably try to upgrade, but like I said, I don't think you can do everything here. I expect Cashman to look on the pitching side. Maybe you add a bullpen arm or two and a bat to try and help out this lineup, because as I mentioned in the first half here before the break, Soto and Judge, it's basically been their show and then everybody else. So get some guys in here who can lengthen that lineup a little bit, because otherwise you get 2 on and nobody out, and you're out of the inning pretty quickly.
Now, if they're going to make a big splash, who are some of the names that we could be hearing? Is Spencer Jones a candidate that could be moved at the deadline?
There's no doubt Spencer Jones is their number one trade chip. He's the one that everybody's asking about. Jason Dominguez is as well, but I really get the sense the Yankees are going to hang on to Dominguez. I mean, if not for his oblique injury, he'd be in that lineup. He could be the answer right now for what they need, that switch hitting bat. So I think they can get Dominguez back at some point in August, maybe early September, worst case, but he will be back to help them at some point this year. So Spencer Jones is an appealing name. Clearly, the Yankees are not shopping him, but as they've gone out trying to trade for certain pieces here, it's come back. Yeah, all right, we'll talk. How about Spencer Jones? And so the Yankees have kind of pumped the brakes there a little bit. But I think that as this gets a little closer to the deadline, look, this year is all about being all in. We talked about what does all in look like. Being all in is trading for Juan Soto and giving up that many talent for a guy in his walk year with no guarantee that he'll be a Yankee beyond this year. So I think that if you're going to do that and hang on to Soto, which they are going to do, then you have to do whatever you can to try and win a World Series with Soto, because I can't tell you, and you don't know, and then we don't know if Juan Soto is a New York Yankee next year, but I do know he's a Yankee this year, and that gives you a great chance to win the World Series if you can build around him.
It seems like Soto has been the perfect fit for the Yankees, although I'm sure there are 29 other teams that would probably see it the same way. But right now, how do you gauge Soto's interest in staying in New York?
Everything that I've sensed and seen, he seems to legitimately be enjoying his time with the Yankees. And that goes all the way back to the first days of spring training, where he was kind of just hitting the ground running and trying to get to know as many people as he could. And I think part of that has been Aaron Judge taking him under his wing. And I remember a day in spring training when I was talking with Judge about the building relationship there. And he said, this is Soto's first year as a Yankee. I want to make it as good as I can. And of course you hear that and your eyebrows go up a little bit and you say, first year, huh? And so I think that if you ask Judge, he believes the Yankees will be able to re-sign Soto.
Thank you so much for filling in, and we will talk to you very soon, my friend.